So good morning everyone. सभी को मेरा नमस्कार. चलिए आगे पढ़ेंगे. रुजुता यहाँ पे क्या बताएंगे? डोंट लूज योर माइंड, लूज योर वेट. बहुत ही अच्छी किताब है. लर्निंग टू ट्रेन योर स्टोमक. Is it possible to shrink your stomach? Yes, it is. But for that, just like Siddharth, you have to relearn your eating habits. So what is the biggest thing that we have to learn? The biggest lesson that we have to learn is to stop eating before reaching the overeating threshold. Now the question is, how do we stop before we reach the overeating threshold? And how do we recognize it? The overeating threshold is different for different people. And even in the same person, it changes with age, stress, exercise, time of the day, season, etc. But no, it is not complicated to find your own threshold. You won't need a blood, urine, or stool test. The secret to staying within the threshold is to have more small and frequent meals. More on that in chapter 4. The 4 principles of eating correct, like Siddharth. But what do we mean by small? The stomach is actually the size of 2 palms. The food it can take at a time is the amount that fits in your 2 palms. Have you seen picture of Buddhists and Jain monks cupping their hands together for alms and food? Well, in an ideal world, that is the amount of food your stomach should take in at a time. By constantly eating beyond our capacity, however, we stretch the stomach and take in more food than it can digest. That is why I advocate small, frequent meals. Give the stomach a dose of what it needs. When it is finished digesting, give it some more. You are still giving your stomach plenty of food. You are simply lengthening the process of feeding yourself. Siddhartha was still eating a lot and not giving up any of his favorite foods. But by cutting the quantities down and eating through the day, he had cut down on the overeating. However, most of us may not be able to stick to the ideal measure of food, at least not initially. Also, often we are at restaurants and parties and can't always control the amount we get on our plates. And as I have said, your threshold will vary depending on your phase in life. So the key to staying within your threshold is to be attentive while you eat. Savor every bit what you eat, slowly and mindfully, and you will naturally find your threshold. All you need to train yourself to do is to be attentive to your stomach. Look at the process of eating. It is about you picking up food with your hands and taking it towards your mouth and chewing on it, and then taking it further inward into your stomach, from where it travels to your intestines. There the food is churned and whatever is useful is picked up and transported to the cells of the body, and what is not is taken to the rectum and pushed out of the system. So we all learned this in school. So eating is a process of internalization. If eating employs one of our sensory organs, the tongue, shouldn't the other senses support this essential process? We have five organs that decide the reaction of our five senses: the eyes, tongue, nose, ear, and skin, sight, taste, smell, hearing, and touch. These are the tools we are meant to employ to understand and gain knowledge about ourselves. Instead, we employ them to distract ourselves from doing just that. We use them all the time to focus on external world. Eyes to watch TV, ears to listen to the voice on the phone or speaker, skin touches the fork, spoon, keyboard, or remote control, and the tongue is distracted by the salty and sweety taste in the food. We remain numb to other taste in the food. So we have to learn to experience mitahar. What is that? Mitahar loosely translated means sweet food or diet. Mita, sweet and ahar, food, diet or meal. According to me, the meal, the real meaning of the word dieting is mitahar. No, I am not saying that you should be eating desserts, pastries, chocolates, and mithai. What I am saying is that eating should always lead to a sweet feeling in the manner which you exclaim, "Oh, such a sweet boy. Oh, that is so sweet." Which means that my experience with this boy, girl, or thing has been pleasant. Similarly, we have to learn to eat only to a point where our experience with food is sweet or pleasant, and when our body still feels light and fresh. To experience this sweetness or mitahar, we'll need to employ all our senses: tongue, nose, eyes, ear, and skin. So you can enjoy your favorite cereal or catch up with friends abroad while eating. Your eyes have to watch the color of your meat, the green in the sabji, the red in the fruit, the yellow in the dal, and the light brown of the chapati. chapati. The nose must be tuned to aroma of the food. The skin should feel the texture of the food. Oops, can't use your spoon then. Ears should listen to the silence you observe while eating. And the tongue should open up to all the tastes in the food. Our brain takes time to tell us that we have eaten enough. And by the time we get the signal, we have usually eaten beyond our capacity. Experiencing food slowly, the essence of mitahar keeps in touch with our brain and our body. And it means we, we will automatically stop when we have reached the threshold. Hey, it is really not half as complicated as it sounds. Okay, let's try again. Eyes watch the colors of the food. Nose smells the aroma of food. Skin feels the texture of food through your fingers. Ear listen to the silence and the tongue opens up various tastes in the meal. Not convinced? Okay, remember the time when you started to learn how to drive a smelly Rangila inspired Amir Khan wannabe drivers sat next to you in a Khatara car while extra brakes and claws. Then he said in English, Newton press clause. First gear main, फर्स्ट गियर मेन डालो, धीरे धीरे एक्सीलेटर दबाओ और अब धीरे धीरे क्लच छोड़ो. You tried and tried, but every time you let go of the clutch धीरे धीरे, either the engine would shut down or the car would race about 5 meters and come to a grinding halt. About 8 days at the most, and you start driving the car like Makhan. Leaving the clutch and pressing the accelerator seems like no-brainer now. But in the first week of driving class, of course, we all suffer self-doubt and are in awe of people who changes gear faster than they change their clothes. Ah, will I ever be able to drive that like that? Go from third to second on a speed breaker. But before you know, you have left the so-called good drivers behind. Now driving has become second nature to you. You can listen to loud music, type an email on your BlackBerry, or touch up your makeup and sip your coffee while driving. But in the early days, when we are still learning, even if the cell phone rang, you felt nervous, right? So it is pretty much the same with Mitahar. Initially, you have to eat in isolation and focus all your senses just on eating. You need this because you have to experience Mitahar, that sweet experience with food, to learn to stop all that at that. Pretty much like the way you learn to stop at the sweet noise your engine makes when it is pouring, beyond which you don't press the accelerator and let go of the clutch. Then the car runs nice and smooth. So guidelines before eating: switch off your phone, TV and computer. Wash your hands. Serve yourself half of what you usually eat on a nice, clean plate. Preferably adopt the cross-legged posture or sit at your usual dining space. While eating, drink a glass of water. Start eating, preferably with your hands, and eat slowly. Chew your food slowly and deliberately. Use the entire mouth and don't just chew from one side of your jaw. While you still have food in your mouth, don't pick up the food from your plate. Keeping your food ready in your hands or on your spoon means you are eating fast and will ultimately overeat. So eat with all your senses and think about how the food is nourishing you from within. Now, if you want to eat some more, serve yourself a second helping from the other half that is left. But don't eat it all after eating. Don't be in a rush to get up and get going. Stay where you are for a few minutes. If you are clearing up yourself, pick up your plate and clean it with water before leaving it in sink. Food that dries up on the plate will sometimes stay on the plate even after washing and can cause stomach discomfort and at a later point. Babies and Mitahar. Babies always instinctively know the right amount to eat, when to stop. Not just that, their feeding times are like clockwork. Ask any mother of a newborn. Babies will always wake up at their regular times, whether at 2 a.m. or 6 a.m. They never seem to miss their meal timings, no matter how inconvenient it gets for their mother. And once they have had their right amount, they won't take up even a sip more. If the mother continues to hold her baby by her breast after feeding, the baby will start suckling, playing, or biting, but will never drink up a drop more than it requires. And a change in baby's feeding time only signifies that it is ill or uncomfortable. So this is how you experience Mitaha. It is a good idea to learn to do this alone for first few days till you get the hang of it. And once you do it over and over again, the body learns to do it like a reflex action, like driving. This too is about practice, and regular practice will take you towards perfection. So you will in time be able to stop at the Mithahar point, even while eating in places with loud music or while putting your point across during lunch meetings, while chatting with a group of friends, while picking up your food with a fork, chopstick, spoon, etc., while sharing at presentation, TV, laptop, etc. I don't recommend eating in such situations, so though as this obviously amounts to abusing the art you have developed and should be kept to a bare minimum. Leaving food on your plate. We have all grown up believing that leaving food on our plate is bad manner and an insult to food itself. A lot of times we finish food on plate even if we are no longer interested in it and even after our stomach is full, crossing the overeating threshold yet again. So leaving food behind on your plate will not be an insult to the millions who are hungry every night. When you came from a poverty-stricken country like India, this is another association attached to not eating all your food. Along with that of bad manners and insulting food. Overstuffing your stomach has not helped the poor, and it definitely doesn't help you. A fit person is more capable of bringing about a change in society. Feel strongly about millions who go hungry every night. Get yourself in shape and start investing time in community projects. And yes, leave food on the plate if you don't need it. Follow the rules of Mithar. So serve yourself small quantities to start with. That's all. आज के लिए इतना पढ़ेंगे, इसके ऊपर चर्चा करने के लिए डॉक्टर साहब को बुलाएंगे. गुड मॉर्निंग भाईना.
वेरी गुड मॉर्निंग सबको, मेरा नमस्कार. पहले हम हमारा स्टोमक का साइज क्या है डिस्कस कर चुके हैं. फिर आज इसके बारे में डिस्कस करने जा रहे हैं. हमारा पेट का साइज मतलब हमारा स्टोमक का साइज हमारा 2 हाथ का साइज जैसा है. 2 पाम्स इकट्ठा करने से जितना होता है उतना ही है. ऐसा मेजरिंग करने से आधा किलो से ज्यादा खाना इसमें पकड़ता नहीं. हम कोशिश करें तो इसको बढ़ा सकते हैं क्योंकि ये एक इलास्टिक स्ट्रक्चर है, इसका इलास्टिसिटी ज्यादा है. हर दिन थोड़ा थोड़ा बढ़ाएंगे तो ये बहुत बड़ा हो जाएगा. इससे 5 गुना, आधा किलो का 5 गुना भी ले सकता है. तो ये एक चीज है जो हमारा सेहत को बर्बाद कर देता है. हमारा स्टमक को बढ़ाते बढ़ाते हम बुरा हालत में आ जाते हैं. तो इसलिए आज राइटर रुजुता ने क्या बोल रहे हैं, हम मीठ आहार करेंगे, मीठा आहार नहीं, मीठ आहार करेंगे। हम सिंपल कार्ब्स को छोड़ेंगे। मीठा आहार मीन्स कम, हम कम आहार करेंगे। मतलब हमारा कब सैटिस्फाइड आ जाता है, हमारा भूख लगना खत्म हो जाता है, इसके बारे में हम बार बार कॉन्शियस रहना शुरू कर देंगे। कोशिश करने से थोड़े रोज के बाद हम थोड़ा थोड़ा कम लेंगे, बार बार लेंगे। जैसे एक एग्जाम्पल में उसने बताया, सिद्धार्थ नाम का एक आदमी, वो कोशिश करके अपना अपना आदत को बदल डाला। आहिस्ता आहिस्ता वो बोलने लगा कि मेरा खाने का दिल नहीं है। तो ऐसा कंडीशन में हम आ जाना चाहिए। हम थोड़ा थोड़ा लेंगे और बार बार लेंगे। ऐसा एक टाइम आएगा जब हमको पता चल जाएगा हमारा पेट और ज्यादा नहीं चाहता है। हम ज्यादा लेने से क्या होता, जितना हमारा शरीर के अंदर जाना है उतना ही जाएगा। जो बचेगा, ज्यादा लेने से जो बचेगा वो निकल जाएगा टट्टी के माध्यम से। तो इसमें हमारा फायदा क्या होता है? हमारा फायदा कुछ नहीं, नुकसान ही ज्यादा होता है। और प्लेट में छोड़ना ये बुरा चीज है। लक्ष्मी जी असंतुष्ट होंगे, ये सब जो धारणा है, इसको छोड़ना होगा। और प्लेट में क्यों छोड़ेंगे? हम जितना चाहिए उतना ही लेंगे, थोड़ा लेंगे, ज्यादा नहीं लेंगे। और थोड़ा थोड़ा रिक्वायरमेंट है तो बार बार लेंगे। और 3 घंटा या 2 घंटा का अंदर में, 3 घंटा सही रहेगा। बच्चे जन्म जब लेते हैं, इनका आदत वो उनके साथ आता है। वो जब उनका जरूरत होता है तब उनका नींद छूट जाता है। चाहे ये रात के बीच में हो, या सुबह सुबह हो, या देर रात में हो, या दोपहर को। ये मदर का कंडीशन के बारे में सोचते नहीं। अपना भूख आ गया तो ये जाग जाते हैं और रोना शुरू कर देते हैं। इनको खिलाना पड़ता है। ऐसा हमारा शरीर भी सिरकाडियन रिदम के माफिक चलता है। हम इसको सुनने के लिए कोशिश करना चाहिए, क्लॉक को फॉलो करना चाहिए। और इसके जरिए हमारा क्या होगा, हमारा ये आदत बदल जाएगा। एक एग्जाम्पल भी दिए हैं। पहले पहले हम जब ड्राइविंग करने बैठ जाते हैं तो दूसरा आदमी जो हमारे हमको सिखाने आता है, वो हमको धीरे धीरे क्लच को छोड़ने बोलता है और एक्सीलरेटर को दबाना बोलता है। हम पहले पहले तो कर नहीं पाते, लेकिन थोड़े रोज के बाद, 7 8 दिन के बाद ये हमारा हो जाता है प्रैक्टिस में, और हम ये कर पाते हैं। आहिस्ता आहिस्ता हम ड्राइविंग के टाइम भी जो कुछ करना नहीं चाहिए कर लेते हैं। मोबाइल को सुन लेते हैं, कभी कभी टाइप भी कर लेते हैं मैसेज, ये सब कर लेते हैं। ये प्रैक्टिस के कारण हो जाता है। तो प्रैक्टिस मेक्स ए मैन परफेक्ट, इसीलिए हमको इसको प्रैक्टिस में लाना है। अच्छा, प्रैक्टिस में लाने के लिए हमको क्या करना चाहिए? हमको खाने के ऊपर ध्यान देना चाहिए। जब खाने के लिए बैठेंगे तब सब हमारा जो गैजेट्स होते हैं, मोबाइल, टीवी, ये सब बंद कर देंगे। किसी ने जैसे हमको डिस्टर्ब नहीं करता इसके बारे में सोचेंगे। हमारा माउथ के अंदर जितना ऑर्गन्स होते हैं, दांते होते हैं 32, और इसमें टोंग होता है, सलाइवरी ग्लैंड्स होते हैं, ये सबको हम यूज कर लेंगे। तो आई टीबी बगैर ये सब हमारे साथ नहीं होने से हमारा आहार के ऊपर ध्यान ज्यादा बढ़ेगा। इसके जरिए मित आहार होगा, कम आहार होगा और हम सेटिस्फाइड रहेंगे। हमारा साटाइटी कब आता है इसके बारे में हमको पता चल जाएगा और हम पूरा सेटिस्फाइड हो जाएंगे। कम आहार में भी हम सेटिस्फाइड हो जाएंगे और हमको जितना जरूरी है उतना ही ले सकेंगे। तो थैंक यू। आज के लिए इतना, इससे ज्यादा हम बोलते नहीं, टाइम भी आज बहुत हो गया है। थैंक यू ऑल, थैंक यू सबको, मेरा नमस्कार। थैंक यू ऑल।